Well, about getting something to eat first, and then I didn't.
I can relate to that.
No, actually, I knocked off from work a little early. Usually I got people coming in or something or another.
Can't do 10 days rush no good. You hear? Can't do 10 days, you get switch man break.
That's why my neighbor was there from
I gotta be at 10 a day. Smell like barbed wire and fence. Old wood.
Like the song said, kerosene, right?
Yeah, kerosene.
The Euro fresh. Thanks to the 19th.
Thought you was going home.
Eventually,
Y'all were.
You stole the second half. Never had one?
Never had one. Isn't out here?
What about them?
Isn't out here? It's going like that. If a work day, you go by that park up there. It's fire. I told one and she said they're here somewhere. I'm probably just here in a minute. Thanks, sir.
All right, it's 7:30, we're gonna get this thing started. Get Richard Wagner saying prayer for us.
Our Heavenly Father and God, we thank you, Lord, once again for the beautiful country we live in, Father, for the privileges that we enjoy, that afforded to us, Father. We ask that we'll always have our gratitude turned towards you. We ask, Lord, that you would give us wisdom in all the decisions that are made tonight, that you receive all the praise, honor, and glory. We ask this in the name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I was going to say a little something I was thinking today. I was talking today, I said, I was just looking at our population, you see the blood. It varied from 1,139 to 1,178 throughout the years. That was 2010. And I started thinking about my home. Yeah, my home populated 5 people. And the way I started thinking about the town and stuff was, me and my wife have an obligation to our house. We have an obligation to our kids. And you know, when we got married, we took an oath, better for worse, rich or poor. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. And in our house, there's 2 leaders, or 1. Sometimes I'm number 2. But when she's leading or I'm leading, we make mistakes all the time. But we get it back together, we move on. And when I was thinking about everybody here, I was looking at the personalities. We're all different. We're not always going to say the right words. We're not going to vote the same way. We're going to be divided as in a vote, a poll vote or whatever, but we're all here elected officials. We're elected. We took an oath. That's for Cedar Bluff. I love Cedar Bluff. It's one of the greatest towns. When I hear people say that don't even live in the town, man, y'all got an awesome town. It's a great town. I like that feeling. You know, and all I'm saying is there's times that we're not going to make 100% right decisions, and there's times that we're going to make 100% right decisions. But either or, we're here to serve the public. We're here to make this town better. That's what I'm here for. To make the town better, to keep it moving, going forward. I mean, I feel like I come in at a really good time. I mean, I think everything's running smooth. I mean, everything is good as far as what I'm going off of. But with our family, when we first started, you know, we'd get mad and you'd run off or do whatever. And now we've learned to work together. And that's all we're going to do here. There's times that I might say something that you don't like, or you might say something I don't like, but that's okay. That's why we're all different. we're all human. We're gonna make mistakes. There's times you're gonna say, I can't believe you just said that, but I'm gonna say it. That's how I operate. And that's all I got. I just wanna thank y'all for coming out, and we'll try to get everything moved forward, and hopefully it'll go smooth. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes?
Move we approve the minutes.
Okay. Make a motion to waive the reading.
Waive reading
Yeah.
and approve.
Okay.
Make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes. And approve them.
Get a second.
I'll second.
The next item,
You're in the total, get the vote. Just get the vote.
I thought we did.
Yes. Aye.
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 I'll start out with a mistake, it's okay. The next item is election of the vice mayor.
I'd like to nominate Kenny Shepherd as their vice mayor.
Okay, there's a nomination. King Shepherd. For a second.
Do you have to second it?
In any form of a motion.
No second.
Yeah. Do you second?
I didn't get any seconds or any other ideas for the election of vice mayor.
I'd like to elect Tim Trent for vice mayor.
I'll second.
There's a second. Okay, do a poll then.
Yes.
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 Aye.
And the next item is for the Crossroads.
Crossroads Engineering had just notified me this afternoon they won't be able to make it tonight, but we really have not made additional progress on those water system improvement projects this month. We're pretty much at the same point we were last month. And hopefully they can be here as some more progress is made maybe next month to give us a report.
Okay. Town manager report.
Okay, it's generally at the January meeting that we get a motion to approve our payment to CART, or annual contribution to CART, the local citizen for the arts. That was included in the current budget, and the amount is $1,000. That will be $500 local funds, town funds, and $500 state grant matching, for a total of $1,000 to CART.
I'll make the same motion.
Second.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Okay, your 2017 council meeting schedule, there's a form under your packet, so you might want to take it home, keep up that, and of course, we always keep it posted over on the bulletin board also, but we'll make note of that. Also, in your packet, I believe there was a copy of the thank you letter from Southwest Virginia Community College Festival of the Arts for the town's annual contribution. That was another budgeted contribution that we made to SBCC's Festival of the Arts. I want to mention, we had our first significant snow of the season this past weekend, and the very morning of the snow, a truck broke down. It was Saturday morning, I guess, wasn't it?
Saturday morning.
The steering column broke. So we immediately had to put a truck in the garage. It was repaired yesterday, and Terry actually had it out working on the street some yesterday. And we did contract for some emergency work for another individual on Saturday. Their truck was down. That's the first time it's ever happened. We've done it on
I think so.
Valley for years. And our equipment broke down right when we were going out to
to work on the road, so I want to let you all know that. And also, speaking of CART, the event that the Town of Cedar Bluff co-sponsors is coming up Friday, February the 17th. That's next Friday of next week. Doesn't sound right, no, Friday. It says Friday's February 17th, but on the card, but that's not February. Okay, Friday, February 17th, right, at 7 o'clock. That's the event co-sponsored by the town. And if you all don't have tickets, we will always get some extra tickets, so if you'll get up with me a week or so before that and let me know, I'll have some tickets by then that I can give to you all. But do attend if you can, and we always get some tickets for council members and guests, if you all choose to attend. Okay, that's it.
The next item is payment of bills approved.
Let me go over a few of those with you. Your list is in your packet. We'll mention check 24697, Country Boy Customs. That was for lettering of the new fire truck. 24698, My People Fund. That was that $250 contribution that council voted for the Gatlinburg fire victims. 24715, Atlantic Emergency Solutions. That was for pump testing of our fire trucks, and that's something that of course is required. Check 24717, Gateway Paving. That was for some paving related to our VDH Water System Improvement Project up in Indian Creek. 24718, Hawson Products. That's a company that we don't buy from very often, but it's vests and gloves and things for our town workers. And on down to 24733, Southwest Virginia Community College. That is the contribution that I just mentioned in that thank you letter. And if you have any questions at any time, we always have all the invoices. You can look over them in details if you have any questions, but those are the things that we're putting out there in routine.
What do we have two-way do twice?
That was for, it was fire station on the fire department on the new truck. You can tell them exactly what they did.
They installed the radio the first time, and the second time
The
they
side,
fixed the light or
light on the new truck.
24702 Pitney Bowes, that's postage.
That is our rent on our postage machine, on our office equipment.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
I'll second it.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, I didn't hear your motion to pay the bills. Hold on.
Who seconded that?
I'll start calling it out.
Yes.
Okay, our next item is town department reports. Kevin, you want to start?
Police Department issued 5 summonses this month, answered 14 complaints, and patrolled 1,794 miles. That's 2 officers.
The fire department had 4 weekly meetings. They responded to 4 calls during the month. We finished working on the new rescue truck, and Chief Patton has given the okay to put the truck into service. They finished up the year responding to 39 calls and had their annual Christmas dinner. 68 total hours of meeting and training, 4 other town activities, and 36 incidents responded.
And there's, don't have anything from the utility this month.
Okay. Next item is unfinished business.
Got a past issue here about billing and fire, billing for fire and accidents. We're supposed to have gotten some information to where we can bill for fire response, but we don't know about accident response. I'm thinking it was something that was passed on to you, Mr. Carter.
Yeah, we need to get an answer. You know, when we were dealing with the new company.
That's my fault, I overlooked that.
So,
What
and if you need some additional information, I can resend some things I've sent you be more specific about what the company's asking us for. But it's basically specific state code that authorizes our building. And exactly what we can do.
Another issue that's been brought up in the past, and I'm not sure exactly where, if it fell through the cracks or it just never was followed up on, was on this 503C, where the fire department would be a nonprofit organization to where we can apply for grants. I'm under the impression, if the blanket was telling me correct, that we missed out on a very nice extricating equipment grant because like I said, it fell through the cracks or it just never was pursued. I know it's been discussed.
The town fire department cannot have that designation as a nonprofit. We're a government, so the department itself cannot be, have that status, but a separate entity, such as an auxiliary, fire department auxiliary, separate entity, could have that designation. But a town department cannot have that designation as a nonprofit. You're a government, and you can't be both government and.
Okay, with that being said, we need, fire departments out there, and they're all over this country, is getting great equipment for little cost. We need to find out what dots we need to dot and what T's we need to cross and whatever to create this so we can apply for grants that are out there and not, you know, sort of get embarrassed by the fact we didn't have all the answers. Of course, where it's a learning situation on this grant by losing out on it. I'd just like to see us get ourselves in shape to where we can apply and get $40,000 worth of extricating equipment would be a very good plus for our small fire station. So, with that being said, what do we need to do? Is it upon the fire department itself to create this? Or is it going to be a hand in hand with the town of Cedar Bluff and the fire department
The town
to where we can do it?
The town council voted about a year ago to authorize the department, to authorize the formation of an auxiliary. So we've done our job, except for fire. It's up to you guys to, if you want to get it off the ground, but council's already voted to authorize that.
This is true. Thank you for hearing me out.
I may have should have brought this up while we were talking about the checks, but I'm just curious, like the checks that we approved, have they already been mailed out? I mean, they're already sent to the vendors, before they're actually presented to us, or like, will they go, now that they've been approved, will they be mailed out tomorrow? You have to look over me, I'm the new kid on the block here, so I have to ask some of these questions to kind of understand how things actually work in the town.
All of the checks are mailed when they're processed, so they're already mailed out.
Okay, we're not holding checks back or anything like that, as was done in the past or anything?
No, you're probably referring to back when we had some cash flow issues. And
Exactly.
stuff, so. But no, everything you approved here has already been mailed out.
Okay, and those, the cash on hand balances that are shown on the, like the the general fund balance sheets and water, sewer, garbage, does that reflect these checks that are listed tonight?
The balance sheets are as of the last day of the month. In this case, it would be as of December the 31st. Your check listing is up to the council meeting, or up to the date the agendas are mailed. In this case, the last check was dated January the 3rd. So the financial reports are on a monthly basis. Your check listing is every check written between meetings.
Okay, and I know it's a snapshot and a very dynamic picture, but as of according to the balance sheet, as of the period ending 12/31 or December the 31st, if I take the cash on hand for the general fund, plus the deposit on the special account, plus the cash on hand for the utility fund, that gives me the cash balance on hand for the town, would that be correct?
At that day, yes.
Okay, so the town has approximately $131,000 at that point in time.
That's real close.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding.
Am I under the correct impression that the date that the checks are noted on here, is that, they go out like that day, the next day?
Yeah, now sometimes they might be in there 3 or 4 days if we
But
can't
it's
get
in
somebody to sign it. Yeah, they have to be countersigned, and
Right.
that's usually the holdup.
Okay.
And I'll do checks, and you know, if the mayor's out of town or something, sometimes they'll lay in there 2 or 3 days, but it's
Yeah.
they're usually mailed within 2 or 3 days, if not the
Once you
same
get
day.
the signatures.
Right.
Any more unfinished business? The next item is new business.
I have a question, it's probably for you, Jim. Is there anything that will prevent us from proceeding on the TIA, the grant for a phase 3 project this year? Or-
No, and you know, we discussed that in our budget process. We really hope to do that. And I mentioned to you all before, kind of refresh your memory on that. We pretty much have all of our match made. So we can proceed with phase 3 if our engineers and VDOT will give us the authorization. We should be able to proceed with that. And that's our intent, and that's what we budgeted. So hopefully we can sometime.
So you're thinking maybe later on in the year, ask him to authorize?
Well, we might even do something this spring, Tim.
I mean, I'm just thinking in terms of last time we went through this, they delayed it, for so long.
We still have a final walkthrough, that's a delay on the phase 1 final walkthrough. There were a couple of minor things that we need to fix in our engineering firm, and Ronald is the holdup on that.
Okay. And that's
And that's something I touch bases with VDOT every month. We have conference calls and check the status, and both of us have been bugging our firm in Roanoke to please get this done, so we close phase 1 out.
Is that Hill?
Yeah, Hill Studios. Sure is. But in the meantime, we've gotten a better position on phase 3. We just in the past few months have donated grading work, which is part of our match. So we're still accumulating our match expenditures for that.
All the delays we had, even after we had everything approved last time.
But it's gonna be a super nice addition to the town, and it won't cost us any more money. It shouldn't cost us anything at this point. And you know, the property we purchased years ago, the bridge improvements, the mountainside that was transferred from the Nature Conservancy to us, and the grading that was donated, all these things should add up to sufficient to meet our entire match for that. And I'll keep you all informed on it, but hopefully we can move on that this year. That's our intent.
Any more new business?
As a citizen speaking from the podium, previously I'd asked for a list of delinquent real estate taxes and personal property taxes that were owed to this town. After I'd made public comments about it and read the meeting minutes from that meeting, I noticed that they were listed in the minutes and referred to as taxes that were not posted as paid instead of a list of delinquent taxes. I guess my question would be, does this town maintain a list of delinquent personal property and real estate taxes that we can say with certainty that is delinquent, collectible, and owed to this town?
The only list we have is that computer-generated list, and that list is as good as the posting that was done to the customer accounts. You also have some issues, and we catch those and filter them out as we can, but every year the Commissioner of Revenue and TASA was responsible for maintaining all the records for the towns. They maintain all the real estate records and personal property records. They include, and especially personal property, they include a lot of tickets and tax records that goes into our billing that we find out later. We're not town citizens, have a Cedar Bluff address, but didn't actually live in town, so it's always a continuing thing to try to sort those out and locate those and get those taken off the roll. And we do physical paper checks on each individual customer anytime we have to verify delinquent amounts to make sure that it's not an issue where a tax ticket was actually paid, but it still shows up on the printout of delinquent taxes that we get our computer to do. Your own taxes were on there like that. You found out when you came in, just where they hadn't been posted. So we run into that, and we've corrected a lot of that, and we still occasionally run into it correct. So the only list we have, customer listing, is the computer-kept and computer-generated reports.
Okay, I
Of course,
can't,
we have thousands of tickets a year, and 50 years worth of tickets, so you have tens of thousands of individual tax tickets to keep record of.
okay, I came in and received an updated list on the 14th of December, which would have been after the due date for the 2016 taxes. I mean, I don't see these to be insignificant amounts or anything like that. The total amount, it looks to me, is approaching about $85,000. And this doesn't include 17 years. Now, delinquent real estate taxes, and Mr. Carmody can correct me if I have it wrong, but the statute of limitations runs out for the collection on those in 20 years. The statute of limitations on personal property taxes, I believe, runs out in 5 years. As part of another FOIA request I made to this town, I come to find out that this town seems to not have a policy and procedure for the collection of this source of delinquent revenue owed to this town. And, this town has a no exception policy to monies owed to it for water, sewer, garbage. I really don't understand why we are ignoring this potentially large source of revenue for this town when I feel it's needed and needs to be collected. I understand that this is a tough economic times, and that, however, if the policy of this town is, especially for some individuals who owe 15, 20 years of taxes to this town, if the town's policy is if you don't want to pay your taxes, then don't worry about it, then we need to make sure every citizen has the opportunity to take advantage of that, or we need to collect their taxes. And that's what I think we should do. And along those lines, my goal here is to resource this source of revenue. That's not a raise in taxes. It's not a raise in water rates for those individuals who are current in regards to their financial obligations to this town. But the first step in that goal is that we need to create a list of delinquent real estate taxes and delinquent property taxes that we can say with certainty that they are truly delinquent, and that they are collectible. In other words, the list I got on December the 14th, it showed personal property taxes for the last 17 years that hadn't been paid. 12 years of that, they're not collectible. They're just not collectible. The statute of limitations is run out. So those, 12 years of those are not collectible. The real estate taxes showed 17 years. Well, there's 3 years there that's not listed on these computerized printouts that are collectible, but there doesn't seem to be a list of them anywhere. To me, that in itself creates problems. If a real estate attorney calls, if somebody's buying a piece of property in Cedar Bluff and a real estate attorney calls and they say, okay, I need to know if there's delinquent taxes on this property. Do we use this list? Because if we do, there's 3 years there that we're not checking.
Our clerk manually checks those.
Okay.
And the reason for that is we continually find that there are tickets that were not posted paid that should have been, so we manually check.
Okay, so that's a good point, Jim, because that means that there is potentially many items on here. So do you check all 20 years, or do you check 17 years and then the 3 other years?
We have the records here, and if you want more details, ask your wife. She did the same thing.
I'm asking you, Jim, if I want to ask my wife something. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on. Are you making a motion that you want?
Yes,
Let's get the
I'm.
motion.
Okay.
You got a motion on the floor to get a list. Do I hear a second?
Can I make, I'll make,
We're gonna have discussion.
well, I'm gonna make the motion, I have it
Yeah, go
worded.
ahead.
Okay,
I
thank you.
thought you already made it.
Thank you, sir. I make a motion that the council instructs the town treasurer to create, update annually, and provide to council as soon as possible a list of delinquent real estate taxes for the last 20 years and a list of delinquent personal property taxes that we can say are delinquent with certainty for the last 5 years. Thank you.
Okay, that's the motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And is there any more discussion about it that you'd like to
There's
discuss?
one thing I'd like to have added to that, if we could do that, is add penalties and interest. Well, a list of penalties and interest that people have to pay.
For right now, we're just trying to get a list together, if I understand that correctly.
That's correct.
And then after we get the list together, we can deal with how we're going to collect it.
I would think the penalties and interest would probably.
No, I'm talking about penalties and interest that's owed to the town at present time, going back 20 years.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
I-
Add that to that list.
I would agree, Mr. Shepherd, because that's certainly monies that are owed to this town also. I mean, there's no question of that. But there's also other things that we can do. There's a delinquent debt collection fee that we can add of $30 per item that can be added to each one of these delinquent tax debts that's owed to the town. But I agree with Mr. Brown. We got to take baby steps here. First thing we got to have is a list that we can say with certainty. Because now, if we pursue this, and we should, there's a potential, that people are not going to be able to get their tags. There's ways to do this stuff. There's ways to collect this money. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. But the first thing we have to do is to get a list that we can say with certainty is delinquent and collectible.
Cities and counties are required to compile this list. Towns are not. We have not adopted an ordinance to bind ourselves by that. All we have currently as far as the list is computer generated. And if you look at the list there, and like I said, there's thousands of individual counts that have to be manually checked to verify what he wants. But if you just narrow it down to the ones that are worth spending some legal fees to collect, it narrows it way down. But the vast majority of them are amounts that you probably wouldn't pursue legal collection anyway.
Is there a set amount?
I can generate a computer printout any month, and Jennifer keeps them posted on a daily basis, and I can generate you a computer printout any month. But neither Jennifer nor I can tell you that a tax ticket on there from 1989 or 1997 that shows delinquent, unless we go back and pull all of those tax tickets, is in fact still owed. They'd have to individually be checked, and there are thousands of them.
I agree with your statement, Jim, that the Virginia Code does say that cities and counties are required to do that, but there's also Virginia Code that says if this board directs this treasurer to do that, that is also Virginia Code. Also, I disagree with your statement that there are some accounts that, due to attorney's fees to collect them, would not make them feasible or economical to collect. I have been in contact with Sands Anderson. They are a law firm in Christiansburg who specializes in the collection of delinquent real estate taxes for municipalities. They will collect these. Virginia Code also allows a 20% addition to what's already owed for attorney's fees to collect these amounts. And the gentleman I spoke to at that firm said that they would do these collections for that additional 20%, basically costing this town nothing to access this source of revenue. But again, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves here. We don't have a list that we can definitively say is delinquent. That's where we have to start, and that was my motion, Mr. Mayor.
There's a motion for the list, is what you're going to.
Yes, we have to take baby steps here.
And also, the code says that the governing body of any town may, by ordinance, adopt a procedure set forth in this section, which is these lists, and section 58.1-3924. If such ordinance is adopted, the town treasurer shall submit such list to the governing body. And also, of course, after delinquent taxes appear, the governing body may require the treasurer to continue to collect the delinquent taxes. The governing body may appoint or hire, this is all state code, with the approval of the treasurer upon such terms as may be agreed upon, one or more attorneys to collect any local taxes or other charges which may have been delinquent.
So do we have to create an ordinance to pursue this, or will this motion
Well,
stand?
that's state code, that's the exact wording right out of state code, section 58.1-3921. The governing body of any county may ordinance adopt procedures set forth in this section, in section 39-24.
Is that word may?
Right, may.
Okay.
Cities and counties are required to have that in place. Of course,
So you don't have to-
clearing off tickets, counties and cities have their own commissioner revenue, and they maintain their own records, so it's easy for them to research records and find out if a property's been sold and should be taken off the list, or if the address was erroneous, should come off the list. They provide that to us. Towns don't maintain those records, so
Yeah.
we rely on the county.
So there, so after reading all that, I really didn't hear anything that would block us from asking the treasurer to create those lists. Did I miss something there? Or- Because, I mean, 58.13924 also states that upon the request of the governing body of a county, city, or town, the treasurer shall furnish a copy of any of the lists mentioned.
Can you vote on this list, or do we have to do the ordinance?
Well, you don't have to do an ordinance.
There's a motion on the floor, and it's been seconded, so it has to be voted on in the form that's in.
That's all I'm saying, if there was something. Okay, let's take a roll call vote on this.
Just for our manager, is there any reason not to pursue this?
Uh,
I mean, one reason was that all of the small amounts would cost more time than it'd be worth to collect.
Right, and some of the state codes specifically stipulate, I think, under $20, which eliminates a good
So you
percentage.
could just get the major ones without.
But you've also got the issue, if we compile a list like that, of hundreds of hours going back and collecting and researching tens of thousands of tickets, stacks and drawers and years, to verify that each individual one has in fact not been paid.
But what if you narrowed it down just to the next, what if there's some larger amounts rather than, I mean, a lot of them are 44, 50 cents amounts, so I saw.
Right, there's some very minor amounts there, and I agree.
mean, if you wipe those out and you get ones that will be worth going through the paperwork, is there a certain amount that we could make this that would make it cost feasible?
I would ask everyone to keep in mind that delinquent debt collection fee of $30 that can be added to each one of these individual items. Obviously, I'm not looking to go out and start harassing somebody or locking their tags up over 44 cents. I agree. That's something I think we would have to come to agreement later on, is, okay, are we going to cut it off somewhere? You know, are we going to cut it off at $5? Are we going to cut it off at $10? But to totally, completely ignore this potential source of revenue, to me, is a serious mistake. And if we're not going to develop a system to collect this every year, then let's tell everybody. Let's do a press release saying, hey, if you don't pay your taxes in Cedar Bluff, don't worry about it. Because to me, that if we don't start somewhere collecting these taxes, that's what we're saying. You know, if you want to pay them, that's fine, thank you very much.
But he's asking, is there a certain amount that we could agree on to shorten this list?
I mean, I'm open for anyone that wanted to amend that. But again, any amounts, to me, any amounts are feasible because of the $30 delinquent debt collection fee that can be added.
And by the way, what we actually do, we mail the tax tickets out, and then after the due date. In fact, we're preparing to do that now. We send out second notices. And then we send out a third delinquent notice around 6 months. There is a 6-month period. So we send out multiple notices. And as far as the legal, the town attorney was working on some debt set off for personal property.
Yeah, just some of the larger ones.
DOB, so that's something we have addressed and discussed, and,
I was thinking in terms of what you're saying, suggest, I mean, the list I saw was huge, and I can see it going through, maybe set off a certain number, you said take baby steps, maybe set off a certain number of the most highest and see how it goes, and see what kind of time it does cost. I mean, we may be talking, Jim, sounds like he had to give, that's all he would do. I mean, he wouldn't have time to do anything else. How many do you have to help? Can Jennifer?
you definitely would want to research every single one that you were going to proceed with collection.
Because you'd have to find the actual hard copy.
You have to go, right.
I agree.
Each person and each year, you have to go that one for this ticket.
I agree. It's, if not already, it is potentially out of hand. But it's only going to get worse if it's not addressed.
So I was just saying, could you modify it to say, how many, 10, 15, 20, and see what we find? And before you say, we make we make an ordinance, not an ordinance, but a motion to go through every single one of them, limit it to a certain amount, and see how much time it takes and how much you actually find before you commit to that 40 pages of office time or work.
Or another suggestion would be to just authorize the town attorney to follow through on the DOB debt set off for all of them over a certain amount, whatever.
See, I've also called Richmond on that. I mean, I really didn't want to go this far on all this because I really feel like we need to create the list first before we get into this. But since the subject was brought up, I will tell you what I found out about that, okay? As far as the DMV stock program, I called the lady in Richmond that signs up municipalities and enrolls them in this program. It's a $65 fee. You get a username and a password, and that $65 fee is good for 4 years. That gives you access to the DMV computers. Really, then a town employee enters those names into the DMV computer. The DMV doesn't do it. I'm not trying to rob business from you, Mr. Carmody, or anything, but I don't see that this would involve an attorney and have to pay Mr. Carmody fees. I believe this could be handled by town staff personally. I mean,
You may have to take on some person to have that particular responsibility and keep up with it.
well, I agree, and if it creates an unnecessary.
That's how it landed in my lap to start with.
It may well have.
Just because of the staff here at the town hall isn't that large.
But it's not that complicated of a process, according to this lady. You just enter the names in. DMV charges a $20 administrative fee. Plus the town, again, can charge the $30 delinquent debt collection fee. And the interesting part I found out about researching into this, and it seems to have been a problem with this town, is the town stickers. You can also use the DMV stock program to collect on people who are not buying town stickers. I don't know about anybody else, but I heard a lot of that this fall as I talked to people. That my neighbor's buying mine, I'm buying mine, but my neighbor's not buying them. The DMV stock program can be used to lock up people's tags for personal property taxes, vehicle licensing fees such as Airtown sticker, and parking tickets, which I don't think the parking tickets probably wouldn't mean a whole lot to us here. But it also allows us to collect those fees. So, I mean, just besides the $70,000, $80,000 that I see on these records, it also gives us that potential. And I don't know, I just feel very strongly it needs to be done. I see your point, Tim. I see your point that set it at $20. You know, if that's what it takes, plus the $30 delinquent debt collection fee, that's $50 worth of revenue. That's for I don't know how many entries are on these, but, I mean, I'll donate some of my time. If that's what it's
$20
gonna take.
deal, and then the $20 DMV, and then the $30 fee is what you're saying.
It could potentially, and you know, I like I say, I know times are tough, but there's a lot of people that don't buy that town sticker here. I mean, that's just plain and simple. We all know that.
Well,
I
let's
mean, I
get-
don't think
you-
that's a
You got the
secret.
motion, I got a second, and we've discussed it. Let's vote on, generating a list. We'll do a roll call vote. We'll
There's
start.
one thing I want to ask again.
Okay.
I may not have made myself clear a while ago. When I said penalties and interest, all right, so if you take a person back in 1995, they owed $1,000. Well, they paid their taxes, but they didn't pay the penalty and interest. I mean, they let their taxes go until they accrued a penalty and interest. And then they paid their tax part of it, but they didn't pay the penalties and interest. Does that fall in what you're asking for too?
We have found that situation is why it's asking.
So that'll be.
Will that be
generated on
part
that
of
list.
this, what you're asking for?
What he's
Run it
asking,
by me one more
I think
time.
What you're asking is the list that you've got, does it have penalties and interest on it?
No.
It does not.
You just do manual research.
Okay, so that'll have to be, you want it added on to it, right?
Because there's probably
No, you have to.
substantial amount- There's probably a substantial amount of that owed too.
I'm sure there is.
What'd be the total cost, right?
Right. I mean, what is it? Is it what, 10% penalty, 6% interest? Is that right?
Because, you know, if you come in, if a person can come in and pay their tax part of it, but they can let the penalties and interest just go. Oh, wait a second.
We're doing a lot of things wrong with this. Say that I owe 2014, 2015, and 2016 taxes. When I come in to pay my bill in 2017, this town is not supposed to take my taxes for 2017. They're supposed to
agree.
credit that back to 2014. That's not happening. We've a lot of issues in this, but again, Mr. Mayor, I'd ask that we move forward and
Well,
vote.
I think what he's saying is, and somebody come in to pay their bill, and.
I'm saying in
Maybe they didn't pay their
1995.
penalties and interest, that's what you're saying.
I'm saying in 1995, they come in here to pay, say it was $1,000. I'm just throwing it to figure out there. Their property taxes were $1,000. Well, they paid the $1,000, but they didn't pay the penalty and interest.
And that would generate them on the list. I mean, I see what you're saying. That's what you want on the list, too.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's,
If those amounts can be determined.
So that would have-
Go back and research 100,000 tax tickets to find out where the case was. That's just almost totally impractical. Go back and research tens of thousands of individual tax tickets to find that information out for a list.
So do we just ignore taxes that are owed to this town?
well, you made the motion. and It's been seconded, so let's do a roll call vote, and we'll start with you.
Yes.
Yes for Kenny, yes for, you got them tore on pieces. Tim Altizer. Terry? No. James Brown?
Aye.
Tim Trey?
No.
No. Wilder?
No.
That's 4 no.
Did you get Kenny's vote?
So that's 4. No, okay.
And that's something I want to continue to work with Mr. Carmody if we have substantial amounts on collecting. As far as real estate, we always, state code provides for statute of limitations, but we have never failed to collect 100% of real estate when the property changes hands or that. So the attorneys see to it that all of it's paid before they get cleared. We always have. So we eventually collect all of our real estate as it stands now. Personal property, I wish we had our own commissioner revenue, the information that Tazewell has, so we can narrow down which tickets are processed and error. I know just looking over that list, some of the people are dead, some should have never been on the list, some are on the list that paid their taxes, but they weren't posted as paid, so there's lots of issues when you look at a list, but I think it gives you a good perspective to look at our computer-generated list, which is all we have at this point. And anytime you will see that, please ask. If you want to question individual amounts, if we can't answer that, we can call Commissioner Revenue and Tassel and get information. And some of our larger amounts, you know, it would be a good idea probably for us to try to pursue those. I noticed through there, the vast majority of them are $2, $4, $7 little amounts, but you have a few in there that are maybe $200, $300, like companies. I strongly suspect some of those probably should have never been sent the ticket, but we'll have to research that with Tazewell and verify those before we do collections, you know. But I really want to try to pursue some of those too.
So, can council, I guess, so after this discussion, you make this larger list or larger amounts will be addressed.
Right, and that's something, and that's something I'm gonna work with Carmody, collecting this fact, we're working on some collections right now, some other taxes, but let me get with you and see what you recommend on some of those larger tickets.
Do you think that?
Maybe we can narrow those down, and I can work with Tazewell, I can hand check the tickets here to try to narrow down some of those larger ones that would be.
Do you think you could bring us the list up next or whenever that's completed, just so we can assess what you have found?
Yeah, in fact, Mr., you know, and I'll work with Mr. Conway to try to.
It may appease.
You know, let's.
That type of policy almost just seems discriminatory to me. It seems as if we're going to single out individual taxpayers to collect their delinquent taxes while others are allowed to not be collected. It almost just seems discriminatory
I
to me,
know,
but
but, I mean, you made a motion second.
I understand.
Okay, now, any more new business? No, good?
Well, yeah, I've got,
I'm sorry.
you know, at the first of the meeting, it was mentioned about Terry's truck being broke down. We're going to look in about the possibility of getting another truck to replace that one. It's getting to where now we're spending a lot of money on repairs on that truck.
I kind of, you know, kind of look at some either department, maybe source for this truck. So let us work on that and get back with you, okay? We might have a truck. So,
But I think, I mean, that's coming.
Yeah, it is, and we know that. Right now, it's working fine, you know.
Well, I know, I understand, but you started working fine Saturday morning, you woke up.
Of course, a brand new truck can, you know, break down on you too.
So is that like the fire truck, the 550, is that a backup truck? I mean, is that what you're talking about?
It's a possibility we'll have a decommissioning, yeah. So we'll try to keep.
Why couldn't we get an independent contractor to truck it down?
I'll have you up in just a minute, I'll let you talk. I can get through this new business and you're good?
Well, I mean, that's one reason we got our own truck, was to prevent the independent contractors we had to harm.
I understand that, but if you only got one truck and it breaks down.
Well, I'm not, and people, you know, you got to clean the streets, and I understand that, and I agree with that. And I think they did get one Saturday for certain places, I believe. I
They
mean,
didn't make that College Hill.
well, I think they did get one.
Do you have anything else to add under public comment, or you just, since it's already up, is that?
Well, that's the reason I come here.
Terry, you want to answer that since you?
He did go up College Hill.
What he said
but he
is
didn't have
we did hire an independent contractor to fill in for us, to answer your question.
He had no spreader to spread no gravel or nothing with. That's all I could find on Saturday.
He told me that y'all didn't want no salt spread.
Not salt, gravel. That's what I told him, snow gravel. But he had nothing. I mean, he didn't have nothing to do it with.
He told me anytime y'all called him that it was so cold and so hard, there wasn't much you could do with it.
I was down there at 1 o'clock in the day at his place.
He told
And
me
we
he'd done it
really-
before. I'm just telling you what Rusty told me.
Yeah, I was down there at 1. He couldn't find nobody to come out till 4.
And we really apologize for that happening.
Well, what they do down at the bottom of the hill, they gather up and they park beside the hill or side of the road, then when you come down, you're scared to death you're gonna run into them. That's the problem they had. And if we have a truck broke down, we need to get somebody in there that's, if he ain't got a salt spreader, I would've called Lee Dye and said, hey, call your father, or somebody get him out here.
Well, you know, hindsight, you know,
Well, I know
we could have
that,
done better, we could have done better, and Terry.
Well, I tried to rent a truck
Terry's
from Enterprise and nowhere to put the spreader on.
Yeah, he called me for a rental, I don't, we didn't do rentals. So.
Rick's truck can't handle that, or? It's not set up for?
No, well, any truck can set the spreader up, but that's two-wheel drive, and it wouldn't have went
Rick's
nowhere.
is two-wheel drive. Okay, I didn't know that.
That's all right.
It went backwards.
All right, we'll go on to the next item, which is,
Done.
That was, I guess that was public
well,
comment.
we were still on new business, but for public comment.
You'll be waiting public.
Yeah, well, are you good? I mean, you understand,
I didn't have a item of new business that we would pass it, and public comment, I suppose. You know, we'd mentioned, we always have public comment at the very last. And, you know, when, I've followed this before, when Linda has to come, various people have to come and sit, and wait for our entire meeting before they speak. Would there be any reason we can't put that maybe, right after we approve our minutes, or is there, I don't recall any specific reason we put it last.
That was just kind of customary, a lot of towns do it last, and I think the sample wording we did for a public meeting policy is way, the first that we probably did, but it doesn't have to be. If you think it'd work better,
I think a lot of people wait through our entire meeting to speak, and then, I'm sure, some of them have, been able to speak and leave and not have to attend the entire meeting, but, I think, especially reminds me, many times as Linda has to come and wait through her, I mean, she may not mind, I don't, she hasn't mentioned it to me, but, as I see people wait sometimes, I wonder if they prefer to have it further in the agenda, just like Jim. You know, that's,
so basically, what you're saying, and you might have put it forward with motion, is that, we change our public meeting policy to say that the public comment section will be placed near the beginning of the meeting instead of near the end. Okay.
I'm willing to hear what council thinks about it too. I mean, I probably want to make a motion unless anybody else has any views on that.
And I would think it should be, make a motion to put it on the agenda.
Okay, for next time. I'll make a motion if we discuss that on next meeting then.
there's a motion.
Second.
Got a second.
Can you repeat the motion, please? I'm sorry.
That we discuss the next meeting, that it be placed on the agenda to discuss whether to alter our current policy on the meetings.
To have public comment placed near the beginning of the meeting rather than as it's currently worded toward the end.
Did you second that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Mr. Brown seconded. Okay.
I'm gonna second.
Yes.
move. Yes.
Yes.
You're doing good.
Okay.
I'm gonna second.
You're doing good.
Very.
Any more public comments? Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is closed session. Do we need to go into closed session, or do we have a motion?
I don't have anything.
So if we don't have any
Change
change,
on it.
Make motion to adjourn.
okay.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
We could have had a winner tonight, we could have left early. We would have probably beat our original time.
Oh, it's eat the elephant, James, one bite at a time, one bite at a time.
You got that?
Oh, why?
Yeah. It's American. What kind of coach you got, dude?